It is Zuko, man, and today we are going to be bringing you the best aim settings video that we can have in this game right now. I'm going to be showing you guys how to have aimbot like aim, PC mouse and keyboard kind of aim, but on a controller. First things first is I'm going to let you know what kind of hardware I'm using so that way you would know if you have this, then it will be able to be almost directly like this. But I have an Elite controller too, which means I have the little raised up thumbstick that you can pull off and put back on my controller, which allows for me to have a lot more fine-tuned adjustments in the center like so, right? That really makes a huge difference. Now, I'll just go ahead and hop straight into the settings here. So first things first is you want to have field of view on 120. The main reason why you want field of view on 120 is not because, oh, I get to see more, it's because it makes recoil looks less. For example, I'll go ahead and put this on 60, and I'll go ahead and I'll try to recoil control this weapon. As you can see, hold on, my audio is extremely loud. Give me one quick second. Alright. That recoil looks very like, see what I'm saying? It just looks very weird. So it's harder to control, right? Now the moment I go ahead and put this to 120, I look at that exact same recoil. Now all of a sudden it's much easier to control, right? So having a low field of view, a higher field of view means that you can literally beam people much easier whenever it comes to controlling recoil, as you can see, right? And that's the main reason why we want a high field of view. You want to put your field of view on the highest that you possibly can, because if you do, then this means that you can shoot people from way out here and your recoil won't look like it's that crazy, you know. That's the main thing for it, as you can see, and you can beam with the high field of view. So yeah, now let's go ahead and go into the next thing. You want your ADS field of view on consistent. If you put it on independent, it'll look like this. So you have this, and then you zoom in to like a 60, right? And now again, whenever you aim in, now your recoil looks all weird, right? So now you have a recoil out here that is basically, so let's say you're shooting out here, or this is your turn speed or whatever, but the moment it's time for you to zoom in, you zoom in, and it's like your sensitivity changes in a way, because mentally you're not ready for this sort of like field of view. Now if you have bad eyesight, then this is actually a good thing for you. If you have bad eyesight and you're wanting to like target down, now let's say you're a sniper or you're someone who's aiming for headshots, this is actually not a bad setting, because it's going to allow for you to kind of find that head a little bit easier on those deeper targets like so, as you can see. And that's the one thing that it is good for. So if you want to run that option, you can, but it is going to make it feels like, as you can see, ADS reverses default field of view, and then low zoom ADS view matches the custom field of view settings. So now, as you can see, it's much harder to see that, you know, that headshot there. So depending on which weapon you're using, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. For example, SMG, you do not want that on, because if I go ahead and turn it on here, now I'm going to get this super zoom in, and let's say you're, you know, a person's right up in your face like so, right? That looks super zoomed in, right? See, very zoomed in. It's in a way, it's almost discombobulating, because it's like, how do you control that, you know? So definitely a weird thing to have on if you're using an SMG, but as you can see here, if you do it like this, it's a little bit easier to control. It's like, okay, well, that person's there, whatever, cool. So it's up to you how you want to use it. It depends on your kind of, you know, ability to see. If you can see very well, then I will put it on consistent. If you're playing SMGs, I will put it on consistent. If you're playing a little bit more far range, if you're using snipers, if you're using long range weapons, if you're using like kind of that medium to close range as well, but not like, if you're using a shotgun, don't use this. Anything that's like that sort of like medium, somewhat close, but somewhat medium to further out, you can have it on independent, and it would actually be a benefit if you struggle to see headshots on smaller targets. But again, it's like, it is what it is at that point. ADS behavior, whatever you want. ADS sensitivity transition, make it instant. This makes it to where your aim feels how can I say it like how it should? Like if you put this on blend, this will literally throw off your ability to go from one target to the next. So let's say I want to beam here. I'll overshoot that, right? So it's a little weird. You see what I'm saying? I'm undershooting, overshooting. It's never going to feel consistent. Now if I do it after ADS, it's going to be like this, right? See how it feels very, very, very weird. Now, and if I go ahead and put it to instant here, now I'm directly on target. You see what I'm saying? So it's easier to build muscle memory off of whenever you click the button than it being any other way, right? Now I would recommend blend if you are, you know, somewhat of a person who is kind of like one that overcorrects. So for example, let's say if you're going from this target and you're bouncing from that target to the next, but let's say you're running a higher sensitivity, right? I would recommend running blend if you're running a very high sensitivity and you're switching to a low sensitivity. That'll be good if you're using like a very high sensitivity for like turnaround speed or whatever, but you're also wanting to go from point A to the next one like so. That can be a very good thing for you. But again, I wouldn't really, I would just say I would recommend you put it on instant, because instant is going to be the one where it just feels the most smooth. Now blend, it just basically gives you a transition from that hipfire to ADS, so it makes it a little bit more smoother. But as you know, 1-to-1 ratios is what makes aiming consistent. You don't really want any sort of like delay or any sort of like slowdown. You want everything to be however much you move it is how much it's going to do it. So that's good. So I have it on instant just for that sake. But if you feel like you can do blend, and blend helps you to not over aim basically means if you have it on instant and you're doing this, let's say I'm trying to aim for him and then you're doing like this, and then I would want you to go ahead and put it on blend and do it again, same motion, and see what it does for you, right? So it just makes the time that it takes from you doing here while you're aiming in slow down, as you can see, right? And then if I go ahead and change that setting back to instant, see what I'm saying? So it's completely up to how you're used to, you know, that. I would recommend instant though. Anyways, melee during ADS, turn it off, especially if you are a big thumb, heavy thumb person like me. Anyways, aiming interrupts reload. This is actually really good. You need to have this on, because when it's time for you to, like, let's say you emptied out a clip or whatever, just go ahead and empty out the clip. The moment that you see that 50, or the moment that you see the mag go in, you can immediately aim in and it'll interrupt that animation. And this is really important for the sake of actually canceling reload animations. And for example, this weapon here, the extended mag, it gives you minus 15 reload speed, which means it gets slower. But if you actually go ahead and do this method here that I'm talking about, where you aim in right after you see the mag go in, you can pretty much cut that down to what it would be like on default. For example, here, see what I'm saying? So it kind of allows for you to minimize that while still giving yourself the bigger clip. So keep that in mind whenever it comes to it. I would highly recommend you keep this on. Crouching behavior, you need to put, these are really important because I'm going to show you some movement stuff as well. Crouching behavior, toggle, sprint behavior, put that on tap. Auto sprint, you have that on, put it on 33 to 40-ish, wherever you feel most comfortable. It really doesn't matter, but the lower this is, the better it's going to be for you. Just make sure you can still, you know, walk without sprinting, because it can get you in trouble if you are always sprinting as well. But the higher that you can, the lower that you can put this and still be able to keep this movement here, the better off you're going to be, right? So it's really important that you are able to kind of, you know, be able to differentiate between the two. Wherever you feel most comfortable, that'll be a good spot for you. Anyways, these, I guess you can have them how I have them. It doesn't really matter at that point. Damage numbers, turn that off. This game has a very big issue that I do not like currently, which is there's too much information in front of you. It's harder to see your target. For example, let's say I beam this guy, beam that guy. Man, this MP7, the way I have it, kicks like a truck, man. As you can see, there's like these little 20. There's a 20 right there. There's all this extra information right here, right? Like, it's just, man, like, there's so much information out here. Like, it gets in your way. You see the headshot, like, you see the hit markers. You have your gun like shaking. Like for example, if I look up here and I shoot, you see how my screen shakes? So you have that on top of a red dot. Every time you get a hit marker, on top of the red part of the hit marker, on top of the hit marker there, on top of the kill sign. There's so much information, like, and then you got on the right, you got the little, you know, skulls, and then you got 200, 300. That's a lot of information, man. Like, that's, and look at how long out that stays, right? Which means it'll just stay right there. That's a lot of information. If you're trying to, you know, see yourself or see just you and the target, that can get in your way and literally cost you a gunfight, all this extra information. So, on top of enemy help bars and all this stuff. Now, I would say just take the damage numbers off because as you can see, you do not want that on. But enemy help bars, you can have that on. I would recommend it actually, because you need to know if someone's won for callouts or whatever, or how low you have them, or if it's a fight worth, you know, doing, or whatever it may be. Mini-map rotation, I have that off because you need to know the maps in general. You need to know where you are in relation to the map. Having it to where you're the center kind of makes it to where you don't get as much map awareness, in my opinion. But if you want to have mini-map rotation on, then I mean, I guess this other stuff doesn't matter. I would always recommend putting ping on, but just know that pretty much every game I've ever played, having this display on makes your game run just a little bit worse, just a little bit. So yeah, now let's go ahead and get into the actual, but well, before we do that, where is it at? Oh, this. Make sure you go to video and make sure you put your 120 hertz refresh rate if you have that available. Now let's go ahead and talk about the aiming settings. So I'm running default. I got an elite control, so it doesn't really matter. I just map it how I want my actual stuff to be. But I have my aim assist on standard, so that way I can have aim assist on. I have the aim assist strength on -2. So what is this setting doing? This setting is basically making it to where the higher this number is, the more slowdown you're going to get. So for example, I go ahead and put this on max. Me going from this target to this target, that's going to be a lot more slowdown. Or let's say I'm here. You see how it slows me down, right? You see that? So going from here to, you see how it slows me down pretty much almost directly onto the target, right? That's very, very good because this allows for you to kind of not have to worry about overcorrecting. But now if I go ahead and put this on -10, as you can see, I don't get slowed down as much, right? Now, am I still getting slowed down? Absolutely. Why? Because I have this aim assist follow on. But the higher that I put this, so let's go ahead and find it in the middle here. See, much more of a slowdown, right? See, almost to a complete stop, right? So now if I go ahead and put this here all the way maxed out, right? Literally almost to a complete stop, right? So that's basically what this setting is doing. It's going to determine how much of a slowdown you get the closer you get to the target when it comes to your aiming settings. And that's pretty much that. So it honestly does depend on however you are used to your aim feeling, but I would recommend putting this somewhere around 5 to 2. I think 0 is a little too strong and it can get you in trouble, especially if you're trying to go from one target to the next. But that's just my feeling. See what I'm saying? I like it like that, so that way if I wanted to aim there or if I wanted to get there, you see, I can just stop, or I can flick and it'll stop it on the person or whatever, right? This allows me to flick and not really overextend too much. That's mainly what this will be excuse me, used for, stuff like that, right? So it's honestly up to you how you kind of want to put that. But again, if you don't have this on, then you're gonna have to completely, you know, have full control over that. So it's up to you however you want to run that, but I would just say somewhere around 2 to 5. That's like my sweet spot. But aim assist follows basically, if the person is moving left, how much is your aim going to help you to make sure you're constantly moving left, which means you can kind of like sit on your controller a little bit without having to fully adjust. Now, this is one of those things where it's really, really up to how you play. In my opinion, if you're on linear aim, I would recommend having this setting completely maxed out, because the biggest struggle of linear aim is small minor adjustments from long range. So for example, stuff like this, and being able to like track like that, right? the more of that aim assist follow that you have, the more it'll do that for you at those longer ranges without you having to actually have that much of a minute, precision. You can kind of let it do it for you while you're just doing like this little movement here. So that's the reason why I have that maxed out. Now, aim response curve. Linear is going to feel like a PC aim, basically keyboard and mouse aim all on a 1-to-1 ratio, basically meaning however much you turn it is exactly how much it's going to do it. As you can see there, it's no dampening, no slowdown, no smoothness. It's just straight up. However much you move it, that's exactly how it's going to be. This is really good. It's going to make your tracking feel literally like ideal. However much you move it is exactly how much your aim is going to go that way, which is the only way I feel like you can aim competitively in this game. Then you have standard. Basically, like it's like your kind of U-shape response curve, meaning you get a lot of slowdown in the center here. So you can really make fine-tuned adjustments here, which is good for a controller, right? Because you need this fine-tuned adjustment from way out here. But then you start getting speed ups like around here. So as you can see how I'm like lagging just a little bit behind my shots. See, it's harder to go, see what I'm saying? It's harder to go from exactly one target to the next. But your ability to track is a lot easier. Because you're able to make these very fine-tuned adjustments, in the center of your, see what I'm saying? It's easier to kind of like keep yourself on the target there. But as you can see, the moment you make a mistake, you really make a mistake. That's the reason why that can get you in trouble there. And then reverse S curve is basically it boosts the small and the large camera movements while reducing the effect of moderate movements. So basically what it means is it's gonna like make it to where you get the sort of like slow down or you get the sort of linear kind of feel in the center here, and you get the super huge, but right here you get the slowdown. So it's basically like you get on the outer edges it's fast, on the smaller edges it's fast, and then in the middle it's like pretty smooth. So the thing I would say about this is a very weird setting. You have to know what this is doing, and you have to know like what your goal is for this. I think it's definitely a good setting. It's basically like dynamic on Call of Duty. I think it's good for recoil control for sure, because it'll allow for you to basically pull your gun down like so, without you having to really like have too much precision with that. So I think it's good, but again, the only problem that it's going to mess you up is it's whenever it comes to having to switch to another target. As you can see, there's a little slowdown there. It's like going from this target to the next. See how there's that slowdown? That little bit of time that it takes to do that can throw you off. So again, you have to know your play style, what you're trying to do, your ability to kind of beam. But I would recommend this only if you know what you're doing with that one. But linear is just straight up. I go from here, I go from here, I go straight to on target, and then again you still get the exact same small sort of adjustment. So recoil control is going to be really easy on linear aim. It's the exact same as the response curve S curve or the reverse S curve. So you're going to have all your ability to do it here. Your moderate movements going left and right is going to be directly the exact same, which means the only thing that can stop this from going directly here is literally your aim assist, and that's it. So it makes it really easy to kind of go from one target to the next while still being able to recoil control. The only weakness to linear aim is that you have to be experienced at making minute adjustments here, at controlling your recoil, and finding a target here. A good way, but here's the counter to kind of people who say linear aim is trash, because of this reason alone. Whenever you're aiming far away like so, you want to move so that way whenever you're moving, your movement is like kind of tracking the person with you, right? So that way you can move your stick a little bit to the left without having to make a huge adjustment like so. And if you can do this on your linear aim, then you got a good setting. That's all that you need to do, is keep your ability, because now if you need to move a little bit more outside of that, like so, right? You need to be able to, so for example, let's say I want to aim at this thing here. Boom, right? Keep it on there. Cool. As long as you can do that, then you're going to be somewhat good. And again, this is the whole reason for the aim assist follow and the aim assist strength here. It slows this process down whenever you're finally on target, so that way you can stay dead on the target, right? As you can see, dead on the target. This makes it to where all you have to do at that point is just not make a huge adjustment like I just did there accidentally, and just beam. Now, if you have a weapon with no recall, then you can legit just kind of stand here and hold down, and then the weapon will do all of the work for you, so you don't even need to move your aim stick here, right? And that's the beauty of it. You don't need to move your aim stick. You just literally simply sit there and hold down, because your aim is going to aim it all for you, right? It's going to keep it on target, as you see. That's me not moving my right stick at all. So again, you're kind of letting your whatchamacallit do it all for you. And it also allows for you to make much more minute mistakes whenever it comes to aiming in the center due to your aim assist strength. So that's basically what this is for here. And as you can see, if I bump that up, that minute detail kind of, you know, it gets easier for me to stay on target there. But I don't like running it that high because of the fact that if I'm up close, then that can really throw me off going from one target to the next, or someone pass me up, it'll kind of mess with my aim a little bit. But anyways, moving on here. Horizontal and vertical sensitivity need to be on the exact same. Do not put this on different ratios. If you're playing with controller, everyone knows now you have to have these numbers the exact same, or you're gonna build bad muscle memory. It won't make sense to you logically. Your brain will have to recompute how much more it has to go upwards to the left and then to the side. You'd have to have these on the exact same value. It's just weird if you don't. And same thing here. This is your aim look-in sensitivity. Let me just go ahead and back out really quick. Oh, I'll just go ahead and do it now. This is your aim in look-in sensitivity. So whenever you aim in, how much of a slowdown are you getting just for aiming in? Now, I would recommend you have this somewhat lower than your actual aim, but not too low, because what you don't want is your aim settings for what you don't want is your aim settings for your outside whenever you're not aimed in to be really, really fast, and then you have this super like tight like aim sensitivity whenever you're fully zoomed in. Because what this means is, sure, you'll be able to track a lot easier, especially with linear aim, and that's what everyone wants to do, is they want to immediately get a low sensitivity on linear aim. But I would tell you not to do that, because what's going to happen is your ability to go more, like, let's say, track someone who's a little bit closer is going to suffer. Your ability to go from one target to the next is going to suffer. You would have to aim out, and if you aim out, then that means you still have to deal with two different sensitivities, and that can completely mess you up whenever it comes to doing that process. So I would recommend you have it somewhat, you know, the same. As you can see here, it's not anything too crazy. I can still control here, and I can still control here. You want it to be somewhat the same, but just a little bit of a slowdown, so that way you're allowed to be more precise. I say the 70 mark is a good spot. Some people do the 50, but half feels a little bit too strong, because it's going to, again, start building bad muscle memory whenever it comes down to it. But everyone is their own. Like, there are certain games, depending on how that game moves, where I had to go 30% on this sort of setting. I would recommend 70, because in this game you have insane amount of movement. So if you aim in and then people are doing all this advanced movement in front of you or further away, you're going to need to have a balance. So again, it can't be 100, because further away and they're doing advanced movement, you're going to get cooked. You can't have it too low, like a 33, because advanced movement, you're going to be moving too slow. You won't be able to track that very well unless this setting is higher. So it's up to you how you do it. I think my perfect balance is the 72, so that way I can track further, close, and medium, and not have to miss too many bullets here. And I have a 2 KD in this game, so I mean, it is what it is, and we'll also go ahead and show some gameplay as well. Now let's talk about dead zones. Left stick, you can have it at whatever you want it at. The lower that the setting is, the better off you're going to be. Just make sure that if you move your stick, for example, like so, that you don't move, right? And you want this as low as you possibly can, because this will also make a difference in how fast you can do the tech that I'm talking about. So for example, let's say I move here, and you just want to check to see if you're moving, right? And as long as you don't move, then you're good, right? So that's the thing about that. Same thing here with your controller. Now I have an elite controller, so they're really good about right sticks. I could put mine on 1 and still get absolutely no, like, you know, movement there. As you can see, there's a little bit of a movement, like as you can see, a small minute movement, but that's not ever going to change anything. The lower that you can get both of these settings, the better it's going to be, because this allows for you to make really minute adjustments whenever it comes to your aim. Like, I'm talking, like, let's say you're aiming at the neck here and you can just go upward to the head. As you can see, aiming at the neck, go upward to the head. It really helps with recoil control as well. So for example, let's say I'm beaming out here and just make these small minute adjustments, right? Because my right stick is allowing for me, especially on linear aim, to have those minute adjustments. Now, this is the setting where if you're going to play on linear aim, you need to have your right stick as low as possible, because having that small minute adjustment allows for you to basically truly control more of the sensitivity for longer ranges, right? I had mine on 2 because I felt like it was a little bit too sensitive, but I lowered my sensitivity altogether. So I forgot to actually put that back at 1. I was running a higher sense, and I realized that I can run a lower sense with how good I've been performing, so I decided to lower it so that way I can be a little bit more precise and try and really aim for the head and get some headshots in, and also help me to recoil control a little bit easier as well. But anyways, going back to it, what this does is your right stick being low on linear or any aim assist setting means that whenever it comes time for you, let's say you have a strong aim assist setting like we do now, right? So for example, this setting here is on -2. Let's just go ahead and put it on maxed out for a bit. As you can see, this is like very sticky, right? So I'm moving, right? Cool. This means that even with that aim assist being that strong, your right stick dead zone basically kind of lowers how strong it is, and this can be a good thing because now this smallest movement that I'm making with my right stick is now able to be applied. So I'm going here and it slows me down, so I'm like, okay, cool, I can still do these small minute adjustments, right? And this minute adjustment that you see me making here, right, is the exact same movement that can determine if you get a headshot, right, or if you get a body shot. So having this minute of an adjustment is literally going to be the savings grace of you not hitting the shot, or you are. So let's say you're now doing this, right? And now you're looking at the exact same scenario, right? Headshot or body shot. Now again, like I said, if you're kind of, you know, on consistent, this is really hard to control. I mean, if you're on independent, this is really hard to control because it switches your sensitivity up in a way, or it makes you feel that way. It doesn't really, but as you can see, with the camera shaking, how many bullets are coming out, man, it's like the screen is blurry at that point, right? So I wouldn't recommend doing it. But if you're using a weapon, let's say like the ACR,
loadout updated,
you can actually do something like this, and you can, again, as you can see, you can get all headshots with something like that, and that can, you know, help you out in that way. But I can't do that, man. That's insane to me to have that setting on. But anyways, your right stick allows for you to basically, dead zone allows for you to basically kind of open up your ability to kind of make these minor adjustments as so, without getting yourself off target too much. Now you still have to have the control, right? But once you get it, then you'll be able to beam. Now that's kind of your whole goal here, is the further that you step back with linear aim, your goal is to be able to beam and have these minute adjustments, so that way you can make those adjustments on a character without having to worry about, you know, issues or anything like that, right? So you want to have this as low as you possibly can for linear aim, because it's going to open up that for you. So that way you can kind of, you know, get headshots, you know, move it around like so, bring it down a little bit, helps with recoil control, all of that extra jazz. Cool. Now let's go ahead and move on here. Acceleration speed multiplier. I would highly recommend everyone in this game who has any sort of like goals of being competitive max this setting out. What this setting does is it basically allows for you to 90 degree much faster, which means you can have your actual this setting lower, these lower, because it doesn't affect, this setting here does not affect your aiming ADS, which is beautiful because it's not like that with the other ones. But yeah, you don't want this for ADS, but this doesn't affect your ADS. This only affects your maximum input for your turnaround whenever you're not aimed in. So that means now you can run this a lot lower, so you can have precision from going from here to here, like so. Oh, right? Like that. So that way you have, again, that sort of moderate, control or whatever. And that can be a good thing. But the moment that you start going maximum input, you get this super huge speed up, right? And this is really, really good because now you look at it again. Let me just go ahead and do it like this, right? You look at it like this, and then maxed out, you get a huge, huge turn. So that's really, really good. It's basically going to accelerate your aim only at the edges of your corner. And that's a very, very good thing. Now, you have to be careful with it, but again, let's say you wanted to lower this to 25, so that way you wanted to have this more precise or whatever, like so. You would be able to do exactly that, but you still would have that same, turnaround speed, right? So, that's the whole beauty of something like that. So it's up to you how you kind of want to mess with that. I actually might lower mine to, I don't know, 25, because I feel like the way that this game is running right now, man, like, I don't know. I just feel like you really don't need a high sense in this game because the settings are actually like that good. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. These don't really matter. That's like basically like your own preference or whatever. And that's basically the closest that you can get to extremely PC-like aim. So that way you can beam however you want. You can, like, kind of minute detail everything however much you want, and be able to basically control every little single aspect that you need to control for your aim. Now let's go ahead and hop into some probably try to hop into some no, I lie, I forgot. Let me show you some movement mechanics here. Whenever it comes to aiming in this game, we obviously know that you need to be able to beam, right? Because beaming is important. So you need to have aim sensitivity that allows for you to recoil control as best as you can, but also, feel smooth for you, not feel too slow, not feel too bad, so that way you can control this stuff. If you can't control your recoil, right, then you're not going to be able to, kind of, beam from further range with weapons that are not supposed to. And as you can see, I have my MP5 basically set to only ADS kind of walking. So this is like my close range beam. As long as I can beam about right here, then that's all I really need from it. So I don't really care about being able to control recoil out there. That's more of a how can I say? That's more of a I would need a different weapon at those kind of ranges because of the bullets, But as long as I can beam out here, I'm good. So whenever it comes to this game, you have advanced movement like crazy. So let's go ahead and talk about advanced movement. Let's describe the weapons that we're going to be using this with, so that way you can understand when you need to do what. So and what you want to build for whenever it comes to making a weapon like comp. So this is my current ACR loadout. I have not gotten everything yet. For example, I wouldn't use any of these, so this one is the only one that I would use. I love this one. I wouldn't use this one. I wouldn't use any of these. Only this one and only this one for the ACR, because it's an absolute monster damage-wise, and the recoil is already super easy to control. So stacking on more recoil means that you can really, really beam from the further ranges, which means you don't have to move it, which means all of your aim can now go to that. Now, here I just have on a mag just for extra bullets. The moment that I'm able to get this, I'll probably go with that, because I mean, who wouldn't want more bullets? Front rail, ADS stability, that's kind of like whatever. You don't really have to worry about that. It's more of your horizontal recoil control. This is what's important. Same thing here, horizontal recoil control, vertical. Sprint to shoot time, it's really not going to matter that much because of how fast we move in this game whenever you start doing advanced tech, so you don't want to worry about that. ADS walking speed is important, but this is an AR, so it doesn't matter. Movement speed does not matter. You do not have to care about that. I'll tell you why. We call recovery, it's somewhat important, but it's like you can sacrifice it. As long as you have recoil control, you're going to be good. ADS speed is somewhat important, but it's not as taxing as they make it out to be for the set values of the weapons. And then again, horizontal recoil control. Same thing with the short range and the medium range. These don't matter that much if they're low values, but if it's saying like -10, don't do that, because that's going to make a huge difference in your ability to shoot from further ranges. But if it's like short range minus, 10, -5, you won't feel that. And you can test that stuff out with the TTK here. You go here and then you shoot with the weapon, And you see how much damage it takes to kill. Same thing here. See how much damage it takes to kill. Hold on, I missed 6 shots. What? I missed a bullet. Hold on, what? There we go. Oh, I missed another bullet. What? There we go. So yeah, as you can see, it takes 5 bullets to kill. And I've tried every single one of those weapons here where, you know, I put on, you know, the ones where I would get, you know, the crazier, you know, slowdowns and stuff like that, especially on my MP7. And I realized that it does not stop your TTK that much. It's more of like if you miss a bullet, then it'll start to, you know, affect you here and there. So it will affect you, but it's not as much as you think if you can, you know, hit your shot. So you can afford to do that for recoil control, because this is a recoil control game since it's already so beautiful. So this is my current loadout. So basically what I'm doing is I am literally stacking on as much as I possibly can to my recoil control and my ammo, because as long as I can aim down sight and do my advanced movement, I'm going to be able to beam. So that's that one, and I'll show you why. Now we have my MP5. So as I said, this is my basically my mobility class. I'm only using this to do damage and to make a difference. Now, as you can see, I have on the short range and medium range chrome line because it's plus 20. That makes a huge difference in your ability to shoot. And the only thing I'm sacrificing is movement speed. That does not matter that much. ADS speed, it matters somewhat because it's minus 15, but you will not feel that. I've already tested it, so it doesn't matter. And then I have, again, same thing here, ADS walking speed, so that way I can move faster left and right for, you know, making people miss shots, tracking, you know, doing opposite tracks or same side tracking, things like that. And again, I lost another ADS speed, so that's minus 25 now. Sprint to shoot time is minus 5 as well. So as you can see, losing a lot of ADS speed, but I'll show you it will not matter. Same thing here, another minus 5 on the movement speed, so I'm now minus 10. Reload speed minus 15. Again, you don't have to worry about the reload speed because you can just do the aim in, whatever. But as you can see, my ADS is now pretty low. My movement is now minus 10, so I'm minus 25, you know, aim speed, and then I'm minus 10 movement speed. And then here we got sprint to shoot time minus 5. So same thing here. So now we got minus 10 sprint to. So as you can see, you're losing a bit. And then now ADS stability is now minus 20, but ADS speed is minus 10. So I'm now minus 35 ADS speed. And with all of that being said, hold on, wrong way.
Loadout updated.
I still beam in immediately, you know. So as you can see, so it doesn't matter. So which one is more important to you? Being able to move this fast left and right. Right, this is insane movement for an SMG, right? It's going to be very hard for someone to track this if you're doing, especially if you're doing jumps, right? Especially if you know how to like keep your reticle, you know, down, so that way you don't like, you know, like actually go up here. But it's a good thing if you're actually going for headshots in that sort of situation. But let's say if you're already aiming at the head and you do a jump, aiming down, so that way you can like keep those shots on target or whatever, like so. That's a good thing, right? So movement speed on top of jump shots makes it to where stuff like this is now very, very effective. So this is all really really good. This is how you basically make the MP7 very delicious. Now movement speed, as you can see, I'm not moving super fast, but that doesn't matter because the moment you switch to your pistol, you can move really, really fast. As you can see, you can tell the difference in movement speed, right? This is the fastest weapon in the game. This is my MP7 with a lot of movement speed reduction, right? You can tell the difference, but it's not that big of a deal. So I would honestly recommend you go for ADS movement speed, so that way it's easier for you to control, like your tracking, or easier to make people miss. Me personally, I would go for mobility. That way you can kind of beam people and not have to worry about people, you know, beaming you down. You know, you can also kind of, you know, just zigzag here, right? That'll just make people miss in general, especially if you're, you know, from ranges like this, right? That really does help you out, but I probably would never, you know, use that in that sort of scenario, right? That's just really hard to kind of mess with. But as you can see, boom, cool. Why do I have these two kits kitted out like this? Is because, again, I kind of explained it already, but in this game, the advanced movement it literally carries. And in a way, you kind of want to have one thing mainly because it's what's going to determine your ability to kind of do this. So for example, first movement mechanic that we have in this game is slide jump. So you slide and then you jump. So let's say you run for a little while, you slide and you jump, right? You get a little speed boost, right? As you can see. But the problem is, from this slide jump, if you're already like, you know, moving somewhat slow here, then your slide jump gives you a huge speed boost, right? So you want to kind of sit that out. But notice how if you just do it immediately like so, you can keep that momentum, right? And the good thing about this game is it's not like Apex where you have to kind of like wait. The moment that you see your gun go back down is whenever you can do it again, right? And this is how you move the fastest in the game. Now this is me moving with a SMG that has a lot of movement speed reduction, right? I'll go ahead and do this with the pistol. As you can see, this is very good. So yeah, that's basically this for you. As you can see, if you jump here, you can keep your momentum a little bit longer, right? Cool. You can even do it to the side here, like so. Hold on. Like so, right? Keep your momentum, right? That's a good thing. And as you can see, like movement-wise, doing that same thing here, notice how it doesn't really affect you that much, right? So you can still kind of, you know, run, jump, and slide, but your distance that you go whenever it comes to this is greatly affected by your movement speed, right? So it doesn't bring you as far out, but is it still valuable? Yes. As you can see, nearly not as much as so, right? So movement speed determines how good your slide jumps are. So that's really, really important to note if you're going to go ahead and go play off of that alone. Now, I would say it's really, really important to have it because of the fact that that is a thing. But again, at the same time, you can always just do this and then switch, right? So you can do this. By the time you land, you can switch, right? Or you can do this and then beam, right? If you're trying to play that sort of play, so let's say you're running around, right? So it's good in that sort of regard, but movement speed does affect how far out you slide jump. Same thing with the ADS speed. It determines how fast you go left and right. This is a very, very fast weapon whenever it comes to ADS speed. So keep that in mind. Now, whenever you're talking about advanced movement, you can also do a jump into a slide. And this slide is actually really, really good. As you can see, you can just kind of slide with it. And you go pretty good with it. So you can jump and then slide. And your slide can go wherever. Now, one thing that's really important to note about this game is it's a movement game. Because you can slide, jump, and then change directions. Hold on, let me make that a little bit easier. A little bit better. Like so you can slide, jump, and then turn, right? Slide, jump, and then turn. Slide, jump, then go back. Like so, right? Not too many games allow for you to do this as easy as this, right? So you're able to legit just go wherever you want to go at. So like, let's say you're trying to peek around a corner, you can like do that and then slide, right? Right? And that's very, very good. Or you can just straight up jump and then slide and get the faster one like so, right? So you just straight up jump and then slide. But you have to be in somewhat of a curve in order to get the slide that you're going to want, right? Like that, right? So that's the thing to note. You have two movement mechanics. You have slide jump and you have jump slide. Jump slide is definitely the faster movement one, as you can see. And you jump out of that, do one of these, jump, slide, jump, slide, jump, slide, jump, jump, slide, hold on, jump, slide, cool. And then you just kind of keep rotating from there, however you want to do it. But jump slide is definitely the better movement mechanic one. But I think this one is the one that you want to use whenever you're just kind of traveling like this. It's the one that's the most linkable, because from this one you have to like kind of, you know, you have to stop a little bit. So that's the reason why I would just do this one here. But this one is more of like if you're trying to, you know, peek through something, you know, that's a very good, you know, way to get yourself low and, you know, do whatever. But the moment you aim in, you lose a lot of that momentum. For example, see, it dang near almost dead stops you, right? See, but if I were to stay aimed in, I'm sliding quite a lot. So you have to keep that in mind with the movement as well. So once you kind of get used to that, that opens up again this sort of thing. So again, min-max spread could be something that you kind of want to, you know, pay a little bit of attention to, because it'll determine like how good you're able to spray. Now, in my opinion, this game's spread system is actually like the worst out of any game I've ever played. You cannot beam with spread at all. So is it something that's going to be effective? I don't think so. But movement wise, absolutely. If you want to make a SMG class built on spread, then absolutely you can. But in my opinion, I don't think it's worth it, because the spread in this game is just already tragic stock. And then I actually have a few things that also mess with that, I believe. No. I had one. So yeah, this one is stock whenever it comes to min and max spread. And as you can see, that's absolutely hard, right? That's tragically trash, in my opinion. Especially if you're trying to do like this, right, movement with it, it just gets you in trouble, in my opinion. But it is something that you can use if you're trying to, you know, do jump slides and stuff like that. See, like, that's just like, look at that, man. Like, you would be dead by that time. If you're gonna use it, you might as well just jump, slide, and aim, or jump, like, slide for a little while and then aim in to try and get your whatever and go from there. Because it's not going to be that effective. Maybe jump away from it, like so. Yeah, so that's cool. Now I went ahead and saved the best for last here, because this one is the most important one. This is how you're going to become like sweaty in this game. This is the most advanced movement in the game. Basically, let's say you're aiming and you're shooting this person, right? The moment that you finish, oh, hold on, I'm getting some controller drift here. So let me go ahead and up this back. Cool. Cool. Alright. So the moment, let's say you finish killing this person, or let's say this person's about to kill you, and the closest cover you have is this right here. So the first thing that you can do is, let's say, so you're shooting, dang, I'm getting beamed up. You immediately unaim, you aim yourself a little bit this way, you start moving, and again, we talked about that auto sprint feature. The moment that you're sprinting, you can jump slide, right? So what this means is, like that. This makes it to where you have amazing ability to recover, to switch from one target to the next, to keep yourself mobile. So let's say that's a defensive way of using it, but let's say you're using it in an offensive way. Hold on, that was bad. Hold on. Let's say you're peeking, boom, and then you use it like that, right? And then remember how we have the double jump. So let's say boom, right? That's just really, really good. So it's very Apex-like in your ability to, you know, to do something like that, right? And remember, you can do like this, or you can bing, and then angle it in somehow. So like you can like basically like get a few peek shots, be like okay, and then aim in like that. So that way you take it at an angle, so that way you're not just going straight ahead like so. You can even do like this even. So you can go wider, depending on however you want that. So basically, just remember, you can slide jump and then change your angle. So you can literally do like this and then go back. So you can like shoot like that, shoot, and then go back. And again, the more movement speed you have here, the better off you're going to be at doing this sort of, you know, like jerk motion. So you can bing, hold on, like so, right? And that's very, very good, like so, right? And if you can do this while aiming, you're gonna be really, really hard to kill, right? So this is the most advanced movement that we have in the game right now. If you can master this, this is going to literally change your ability to win a fight. And again, you can go forward, you can jump back, you can do like this and jump forward like that. And that's where the ADS speed comes in. So ideally, a gun that allows for you to get movement speed and ADS speed put together would be the most viable whenever it comes to abusing the advanced movement, because being able to be neutral here and immediately jump slide to here, as you can see here, that's a huge jump, right? And all you need to do is angle yourself somewhat diagonally, right? Start sprinting, slide jump. And it's very, very fast, right? As you can see, you're flying, right? So this is one of the things that SMGs can do that makes them extremely, extremely strong. So the better you get with that, the better you're going to be. So probably gonna hop into some gameplay now. I kind of showed you guys everything I need to show you. We're gonna kind of basically just go from there. Deal. I don't really want to hop into gameplay because I'm on I have a 85 win right now, so I don't want to hop in with randoms, but I'll go ahead and upload some videos of my gameplay so you can see my aim in action. You can see me absolutely wrecking people, and also all of these settings kind of at hand, playing, you know, kind of handling business here. But I can also show here, like with the sniper rifle. Oh, that was bad. I feel like the sniper rifles are very, very weird, like as far as like ghost sniping. I feel like you have to take it much slower than you normally would with other games. So every time I try to do it, I always have to kind of adjust, basically, because I want a black scope or ghost scope, if y'all know what I mean, like that. But it doesn't allow for you to do that. You have to fully aim in and like be all neat and cute about it. It's very, very ugly. I would definitely have to, as you can see, like, look at that, man. It's so weird. The sniping is weird in this game, but it's very effective. Snipers are super OP. Yeah, you can easily, you know, whatever, with the aim settings that I have here. That was a bad shot. I just like to kind of flick shot if I can, or do something like that. But it's very weird in this game to kind of mess with the snipers because they're not as simple as, you know, like that, right? That is like really, really weird to do in this game. It's very, very weird. I don't like it, so I don't really run the, you know, the sniper in this game. But one thing that is smooth is their ability to kind of like do stuff like this. Like your drags are going to be very, very good. I think if you're really going for sniper, you would kind of want to have your aim assist down a little bit because it's very strong here. But if you suck at aiming, then I would put that a little bit higher for sniping. But sniping, you really want precision over, like, you know, slow down. You want to kind of be able to control those, you know, those flicks. I don't snipe, but I can still kind of, you know, lock onto the target and then, you know, find it there. That's how I would snipe in this game. But as you can see, say I killed this person here, boom, boom. Like, that's really, really weird to do. So you would have to find them after that. So I'd be boom, and you have to find them. I feel like that's the most effective way to do it in this game because of how the black scopes are just not as consistent. And again, if you're struggling with that, then I would feel that, where is it at? This one here. I feel like this would help a lot of snipers. Boom. See, because the aim-in process is much, much longer, right? It allows for you to hit, find, right, find, especially going from one target to the next. So I feel like that makes it somewhat, you know, viable. So let's go ahead and switch to the other one here. Where's it at? Boom. Yeah, so let's say you're here, 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 here. Right, you see, it's a little bit easier to do it on blend, in my opinion, just because you have that little slowdown whenever it comes to going from one target to the next, and then from there you just kind of, it allows for you to kind of find that target in between, you know, this process, right? So it allows for you to kind of lock in like so. I just feel like it's easier to do it on blend sniping, but if you're using instant, I just feel like it's a little weird. Like, I can only do it if I like find them immediately in the center and then just black scope from there. So I have to kind of like get myself on target before and then not touch it after, right? Like so. And that's how I feel like I can be consistent with that. But I mean, to each their own. However you want to snipe is however you want to snipe. Sniping in this game is very, very effective. But you do have to be somewhat patient or somewhat like poised with it. It's not as simple as, you know, point and click. It's a little slower, more methodical than other games whenever it comes to, you know, the spread and stuff like that. You really have to know that specific timing for whenever you're fully aimed in, and it's not going to allow for a shot to miss. But as far as like how this feels great. Like it's easy, but you know, you kind of have to know your settings in order to get that sort of smooth feel whenever it comes to kind of like, let's say you're tracking this target here, right, from deep range like so. It's easy to track. So I'd say you're way out here with it and you're trying to track this target. As you can see, you can track pretty easily. So if you wanted to get one of those shots off, you'd be able to do that, you know. So yeah, sniper feels good in this game. It's just a little weird, honestly. It's different than other games. Yeah. Like that, for example, you can't really shoot until after the thing finished clipping, so it's like you really have to be methodical with it. It's very weird. Anyways, that's everything I have for you guys, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys start mastering all this stuff. Hope you guys find the settings that work best for you. It's Zuka, man. We are 85,000. Peace.